As we approach Halloween, it provides an opportunity for us to ponder its origins. And so many things in our society have Christian origins in the church. And so it is with this great day where we celebrate trick or treat and kids dress up in costumes, and it's just innocent and fun when we keep it that way. But All Hallowed Eve refers to the fact that Halloween is the vigil of all saints. So it was the vigil of the triumph of the saints, and points in a way to the triumph of good over the power of evil and sin. And we see, throughout history that even from the beginning in the Garden of Eden with the first original sin and the temptation that Adam and Eve experienced, there's this cosmic struggle between good and evil, between God and Satan, and ultimately between Christ and Satan in the Christ event. So Halloween reminds us that we are called to be saints, to reject evil and sin, and to become the person that God has called us to be. We see in the saints then the possibilities of what can be when one individual, woman, man, child, older person, whatever race, doesn't matter, when one person gives themselves to the fullness of the grace of God and really gives full reign and permission to Jesus to act in us, to live in us, and to be in us. So it doesn't matter where you begin, in a sense, because many of the saints started out as grievous sinners. What matters is where you end up. And the saints show us that there's hope for all of us, that no matter how we've lived our life up to this moment, we can still become the saint that God has called us to be. Halloween then is a foreshadowing of that triumph of good over evil. It's the vigil of this great feast where we magnify and honor the saints that are in heaven. Not only the canonized saints that we read about, but every saint who is a person in the kingdom of heaven. So all those that we know and love who have gone through the purgation of their sins and now are in the glory of heaven, we honor as well on November 1st. When we honor the saints, we honor God's grace. When we celebrate Halloween, it's really an anticipation of the triumph of light over darkness, of good over evil, of Christ over Satan. And we know that God wins. We know how history ends. We know that the victory has already been gained by Christ, and therefore we can take courage in that triumph that is already ours, because God shares it with us in Jesus' death and resurrection.